Hey guys, welcome to Boyz Houze Take the Floor. How was your week? My week went by so fast, I honestly don't even remember what happened. But I know it was tiring. So what's going on in the world? I know a lot of you have contacted me in reference to Demi Lovato. I really haven't gotten a chance to sit down and watch that docuseries on YouTube. I'm going to try to do that this week, and then I'll let you know what I think about the Demi Lovato docuseries. I do like the song, though. I've heard that on the radio. Big news, Nas X, the Satan shoe sneaker. I don't have much to say about it other than I'm confused. So am I to believe that some sort of company came to Nas X and basically said, we're going to make a shoe for you? And he said, cool. And we're going to do it with Nike. And he said, all right. And at no point did anyone on his team, did he himself verify that he was actually working with Nike instead with another company that just put a Nike logo on the shoe? Is that what the story is? I'm just confused about it because I don't understand how someone makes a shoe that has the Nike logo on it and doesn't think they're going to get sued unless they legitimately thought they had a deal with Nike. So I need more details because I don't really understand that one either. Just before we started recording tonight, Joe Biden announced his $2.2 trillion infrastructure proposal, which also would cover education, and it's a lot of different things in there. And he plans to do that by instituting a corporate tax hike up to 28% on businesses like, Walmart and Amazon and Google, companies like that. We'll see how that plays out. Anything big like that is going to be weeks and weeks of constant negotiation and back and forth. I did like his speech. I got to see part of it. And he basically said, listen, this is my idea for how I want to do it. I want to raise taxes on XYZ. I just don't want to raise taxes on anyone who makes less than $400,000 a year as a family. If you have other ideas on how to do it, bring them to me. But that's his only stipulation. You don't raise taxes on anyone who makes under $400,000 a year. So this should be interesting, seeing how they get that passed. But I hope they do, because we need some new roads, and the bridges are crumbling, and et cetera, et cetera. Everybody knows the problems here, even though we tend to pretend we don't. Other big news, over the last few days, have gotten a chance to watch the George Floyd murder trial, basically. That's what I'm calling it, because that's indeed what happened. The man was murdered, and we have endless amounts of video to prove that he was murdered, so I'm very curious to see how this plays out. I got a chance to watch a short clip of a body cam from one of the police officers, and before they pulled him out of the car, he's just pleading with them, please don't shoot me, please don't shoot me, like having obviously all the images of every other black person that's been pulled over the last I don't know how many years, and how it generally ends. He's like, please do not shoot me if I get out of this car. And the cop's like very cavalier, I'm not gonna shoot you, as he's holding his gun 10 inches from his face. And still, with all the images that you see, if you choose to see it, because some people want to live in oblivion and forget that the news and the world exists, which will only work as long as it's not knocking on your door. So keep on ignoring everything, because it will come to you. Just one warning. But people are still confused. Still confused why last year people were rioting in the streets, petitioning and rallying and burning down the town. Not smart, not going to help anything, but people are angry, and you should be angry too. I would be angry if I was George Floyd's family. I would be angry if I was any member of that city, because these are the cops that are policing. And I guess this is maybe what the expectation you should have in your head if you get pulled over by one of those police officers. It's crazy to me that people are still confused. They're still confused why people were saying Black Lives Matter. Last year I lost a bunch of friends on Facebook. What I do want you guys to understand though is that these people on Facebook are not your friends. That's just what Facebook calls it. You know who your friends are. You see them on a daily, monthly, weekly basis. You see them throughout your life. Those people on Facebook are just what Facebook calls friends. Don't confuse the two. But I lost a lot of friends on Facebook last year. But that's fine. I don't live my life for follows. Because they couldn't wrap their head around very elementary ideals. And I don't really have time for people in my life who can't wrap their head around elementary school ideals. I know someone who actually doesn't live too far from me right now, who has worked very minimally throughout his entire life. And let me tell you, looks like he's never missed a meal, has lived off of my taxes and your taxes for most of his life, yet still has the audacity to walk around and tell people how they should be running their life, how government should be run, when he's benefiting off of everything that government's been doing for him thus far. Just shut your mouth. You just sound like and look like an idiot. And if that's what you want the perception of you to be, then I guess keep talking. I know a few people who had so much to say about Joe Biden winning the election, who were diehard Trump supporters, who now, after Joe Biden has won the election, have joined multiple branches of the military. Now, do you know who runs the military? The president is literally the executive of the military. You weren't trying to sign up for the military while Trump was president. Why is that? But I lost a lot of Facebook friends last year because they just couldn't wrap their head around the idea, the very elementary idea of what it meant to say Black Lives Matter. Well, all lives matter. Yeah, every single life matters. But when you keep watching TV, and on the whole, Black lives keep being taken, it doesn't appear that everyone feels that all lives matter. And if somehow that viscerally offends you, that saying Black Lives Matter somehow makes you feel some sort of, you're probably part of the problem. And that's probably some unconscious bias that you unconsciously are feeling. We didn't say only, but I guess that's how you feel. So what is that trait that lives in you that makes you feel that way when you hear something that nobody said, you see something that nobody said? It's called unconscious bias. So first, maybe you should wake up and see who you are. Go in the mirror and say hello to yourself. Because once you figure out who you are, then maybe anybody else would accept you telling them how they should be or what they should be doing. And I don't understand what is so hard, especially after seeing everything that has been played out today, all the new footage, a grown man crying. I had to mute the TV because it's just too much. It's been too much. And if your brain, for some reason, can't allow you to wrap your head around this idea, then your brain is probably broken. So step one is to admit that your brain is broken so that we can make steps to fix it. Because I can tell you personally, till I'm done building my spaceship, everybody better knock it off. And if I have to literally come out there and parent all of you, you will knock it off. And I have friends who work for the police. I have friends who are police. I have family members who are police. So I'm so over this conversation that blue lives matter. Yeah, again, everybody's lives matter. But the blue lives aren't the ones being killed every day. To say Black Lives Matter doesn't mean anybody else's life matters less. If that's how you feel when you hear it, then that probably means that you think your life matters more. Your brain is broken. And those of you who just keep ignoring the problems that exist on the world in which you live, they're not going to go anywhere if you ignore them. because soon they'll be knocking on your door. This is happening because the education system clearly sucks in this country, and they probably want to continue to keep it sucking so that you stay stupid and don't know anything about anything that goes on. I go through your social media, I get texts, I listen to you guys speak, just out when I'm out. You don't know anything about what's going on in the world. You're saying things to other dumb people who believe the dumb stuff that's coming out of your mouth because they also don't know anything about what's going on in the world. You don't understand how government works. I read a post on someone's Facebook the other day. They were angry at their governor because they weren't getting unemployment benefits because the federal government hadn't funded the unemployment bank. So why are you mad at the governor for the problems that the federal government has to fix? Why are you mad at the president for issues that your state government has to fix? Like, you don't even understand how government works. You go on your social media and you say things, you look dumb. Like, I don't know when we got to a point in this world where we do not have any pride in our image, our perception, like what people think of us. And that's a great thing, actually, but not in every aspect of your life. Please inform yourself before you put yourself out there on the internet for the world to see how dumb you are. I understand we all don't know everything, but if you're gonna go on your social media and complain about stuff that you don't even know what you're talking about, you look dumb. I don't know how else to spin it other than you look dumb. So please do better. Unless you want people to think that you are not an intelligent person, because if that's the case, you're doing a good job. But most importantly, what I want to discuss, because I feel like this is not being discussed a lot, and right now I'm speaking primarily to all the black and brown people watching. Get it together. I just watched 2 days ago this big black man beat down an Asian woman in the street. Can we stop with the Asian hate? And if you're black, you're brown, you're a woman, you are gay, or a lesbian, transgender, if you already fit into a minority, then I think maybe it's time we started to band together. Because I'm really getting annoyed with hearing black people and brown people talk about other minorities in the same way that you obviously don't want to be treated. And I've said for almost 20 years of my life, we need to go into situations with clean hands. That's actually a legal term. You can't rob a bank with your friend and then take him to court because he didn't give you any money. Because you didn't go to court with clean hands. You committed a crime before you got there. So if you're going to keep committing crimes on other races, and ignorance on other races, and continuing prejudice on other races, then I don't understand what the expectation is that you have from anybody else. And before we all collectively start expecting the rest of the world to treat us differently, we need to start policing our own race. And maybe all the brown people and all the other minorities need to get together, because this is not a battle between us. And you're creating more issue and more noise, which takes away from the real problem. So why don't we come together and stop acting ignorant? All you black people who have so much to say about women, all you women, you black women sometimes, who have so much to say about gay people, like, do you not understand how hypocritical, nonsensical, and idiotic you look? And I've said this to members of my family. I've said this to a lot of my friends, and I've said it throughout my life. Wash your hands and keep them clean. And then maybe it's okay for you to have that expectation from somebody else. As you can tell, I'm a little annoyed tonight. And like I said, if you've seen anything over the last few days, if you've seen anything over the last year, you should also be annoyed if people are still confused about what's going on in America. So, maybe a little bit disappointing news. Over the weekend, Tommy K was in the hospital. Found out he had kidney stones. There was actually a few in there. So, as you can probably guess, not a fun experience. Good news though, he was home same night. But I am sure he is in bed right now, barely moving. His brother Max is down from Staten Island, and we really tried to convince Max to sit in for Tom tonight, but he didn't want to get in front of the camera. So up next, we'll have a micro chat with Tommy K and Jesse from a few weeks ago, where Jesse's going to talk about a few outer worldly things. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you guys do that, and we'll be right back. Stay here.